Oh my gosh, here we are again for Trash Talk. And not only is it Trash Talk, but incredibly, we've been together for 1 year
Wow,
doing this
one
show.
year.
This
Oh,
is our big first anniversary show. Strike up the band, let the confetti fly, and all the trash in the dumpsters behind us, and all that's starting to blow around. The smell is great. Man,
this is
hard
great.
to believe, dude. A whole
I
year,
know. I know. It
52
was
shows.
a year ago that we sat that I remember this conversation. I remember getting an email from you. And you said, "Hey, I got an idea for a show. It's a I'd like to pick your brain for a couple minutes." So instantly,
Yeah.
I was intrigued. You know?
Well, I mean, it was just the fact that we had done a couple of shows on KVGI radio. You were a guest, and we were talking about various things from your writing days, and also from your behind bars. Uh, Cheap plug in there for your upcoming book. Um,
Sorry, Doug.
but I said, we just had that connection. It was so easy to talk. And I said, but maybe we ought to get together and just do a show and just talk about whatever's on our brain, and just talk trash. Oh, hey, that's a cool name, Trash Talk. So that's how it was born, and the very actually the very first recording we did was kind of like a preview promo setup thing. We told people what was coming. And
Yeah, it was like a commercial almost,
yeah,
like, hey, this is what we got. Well, the minute that I talked to you on the phone, I remember sitting on the patio because we were still pretty into the pandemic. Things were very weird, and
yeah.
you said, here's my idea. What do you think? And I was like, yeah, all you had to ask me was, do you want to do a show? I was in. Let's do it. It was a great idea.
And yeah, and it fell at a time. And the funny thing was that we really didn't spend too much time on the pandemic. We did do a show
No.
early in our run about COVID and how it was starting to affect businesses and stuff like that. But right from the get-go, we just kind of said that, we may say something serious, but for the most part, this was just going to be talking nonsense and having some fun.
Well, everybody, look, the world needed it. We needed it. The world didn't realize it needed us, but it needed us.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, they were crying out. They were sitting in their homes. Cabin fever was setting in, and they were just crying out. We really need some nonsense,
Right.
and all of a sudden, these two yahoos come on the screen, and we've had our share of nonsense. That's for sure.
Well, social media was pretty depressing at the time. It might still be. It was pretty toxic, and we came in there and said, "Hey, forget it." I mean, even when we talked about the political show, we did the voting. It was not serious. Like, we tried to just make it light and fun, and we got serious a couple times. But I look back at some of those early shows when I didn't have facial hair, and I was like, "Who is that guy?"
And now we're a year older, and we're so much better looking. We've got a tremendous nationwide following. I was going to say an international following, but little by little, you've managed to knock that out of the box.
Much like our current president, I'm making everybody upset across the country,
Yeah,
the world. I
that
don't
was
think
funny.
Afghanistan's on my list.
But we had some fun shows. I mean, I was looking over my list, and some of them were fun. I mean, we always did something around some of the holidays, which
Oh
we'll
yeah.
continue to do around, Thanksgiving, Christmas, one of your favorites, Halloween. But one of the funniest shows that we did was about receipts.
Oh yeah.
About pumping your gas, and the receipt didn't come out. And it says, go see the cashier. And what you go through while you're standing in line just to get your receipt while everybody else is buying lottery tickets. We had a ball with that.
you know, I still think about, so whenever I pump gas, and I've been getting receipts since before the show, I still think about that. I'm like, is the receipt going to come out? I swear to God, if it doesn't come out.
It happened to me last week. I finished. Do you want a receipt? You push yes. And it sits there and it does nothing. And then it says see cashier. And I finally got to the point. I said,
I don't know. Forget it.
Heck with it. It'll be on the credit card statement.
I literally talk to the pump. Like, I'll go to push a receipt and I'm like, are you going to do it today or no? Is today not a day? And then it doesn't do it. I go, okay, that's great.
Yeah. And we did a show about traffic and about the slow drivers in the left lane, the people that don't use their turn signals. I mean, this is a slice of Americana, what we were talking about.
Well, and it's funny because as I watch the early shows, and by the way, all these shows, all of them are still available on all your platforms, your Spotify's, your Anchors, YouTube. You can check out Stuart's website. They're all there. Okay.
Yeah. If you've got absolutely nothing else to do in your life and you're looking to get a life, you might want to start with past episodes of Trash Talk.
Yeah, look, if you're unemployed and you don't have a job, don't worry about it. Just go to Trash Talk and just listen to all the episodes. Life sucks anyway.
You might pick up a line or two that we used, and you can use that in your next interview.
In all fairness, we did do a whole episode about applying for jobs and LinkedIn and all that. So that was an educational one.
Yeah. But we have covered, I mean, all you have to do is look behind us. We did a show about environmental cleanup.
Yeah, that worked out
Obviously that didn't work very well, did it?
Yeah. This was my first background, by the way, when I just, my first visit to the dumpster that I ever did on the show, because for a while there, I wasn't able to, I was, oh no, I just knocked over my stand. I wasn't able to. But here we are. Now I'm in the dump and I feel great.
and we get together before the show, and all of a sudden we both come on the air, and you got one with a tractor and I got one with a tractor. So I got to go back into my archives and switch over because we don't want to have the same.
No. What's great too is we've also taken this show on the road. I mean, besides going to, we have our coffee breaks at one of our favorite places, Summer Moon.
Yep.
You've been in Florida, doing the show. I've been in Detroit.
I did a show while standing on Duval Street in Key West.
I mean,
you did a show from Detroit.
I did do a show. I did a show from Detroit. That's about as glamorous as I get these days. So we're still not raking in the bucks like we should be, but we're getting there.
we are, and the most important thing is we're having fun with it. We're still having fun. The tough part now is after doing 52 shows, it's a matter of every month saying, geez, now what are we going to talk about? We've covered about everything. Now we got to kind of go back and rehash a little bit.
What's funny? So this last couple shows that we were doing, or right before we were going to do them, I was going through the log of all our ideas. And once we do them, I just cross them off, just they're done. And then there's some that just don't sound good to me anymore. So I'm like, let's just get this out of here. Or maybe that's been talked about too much. I had a hard time because I was like, all right, I know we got a lot of ideas, but what are we going to do? But then you emailed me and I'm like, oh, well, there you go. We're fine. Like we never come into a month or a week where we're like, I have no idea what to talk about. Like,
well, it starts off with, well, what are we going to talk about? And then all of a sudden I send you 3 or 4 ideas, and then you send me 5 or 6 more. And then we go back and forth. And now I start with my notebook and I start putting in, I always do it in pencil because.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because if we pencil in on a certain day that we're going to do a certain show, and then all of a sudden another idea comes up, I'll say, well, let's move this one further down on the list.
That's fair. I do it in pen, but there's a lot of scribble marks. Looks like Luke got a hold of it, and I don't even know if I own a pencil.
Oh, got to get it, and you get one of these
mechanical pencils.
Yeah, the mechanical pencils.
I do have one of those. I hated those in school though. I hated them because the lead was so thin, and when I write, I write like I'm stabbing somebody, like I'm just like, and it breaks, and then oh God, that's awful.
My problem was I was always looking for a mechanical eraser because I never wore out my pencils. I always wore out the eraser before.
They used to have those. It was a white tube, and you pushed it all the way up, and it looked a little weird. But
yeah. But the old wooden pencils, remember the old wooden pencils, you'd use up the eraser, and then what you do is it had that little metal thing around the eraser.
Bend it. Oh God.
So if you bit on that metal thing and flattened it, it would give you another little bit of eraser.
I think that company that makes number two pencils, the only reason they're in business is because the star test.
Yes.
They get rid of the star test, they're done. Nobody's using that crap anymore. It's all on the computer or tablet,
Yeah. And I always wondered, okay, we always use number two pencils, right? Was there ever a number one or a number three or a number four pencil? Did you ever have one or use one?
Because they're like, bring a number two pencil. I'm like, that's all we have. I don't have.
Where would you find anything else?
And I don't even know what the number two stands for. What?
That reminds me, when I lived in Florida, there was a little town on the highway. A highway would go through this little town. I don't think there probably maybe 300 residents in the town. They had one police car in the town, and they used to park it over right off the highway. So as people were planning to speed through town, they would see the police car, and the police car was number 17.
And that's it. Like, there's got to be a reason for it, right? Like,
sure, people figure I better slow down because maybe there's 16 other squad cars around here.
Does Frisco? Yeah, Frisco has 16 cars, but I swear to God, man, I didn't know Frisco, man. At my work, and I'm not going to plug them, but when I used to work overnights, I would actually, we'd get a lot of the Frisco PD in there, and I talk to the guys and all that. Man, there'd be some days I'd see like 18 of them, and I'm like, how many police do we have in Frisco? I know it's big, but God, I feel like I'm in New York, man.
Well, that number 17 police car that I told you, that was permanently parked there. The grass would, the grass would grow around it, and it was, every about 6 months somebody would come out with a weed whacker and cut the grass around. But there was never anybody in the police car.
Well, they had enough for the police car. They didn't have enough to pay the cop.
Yeah.
They do that around here sometimes. They do that around here. I saw it one morning on Teal or Lebanon or one of those stupid roads, and I was driving, and he was in the grass, and I was like, "Oh, nice spot! Like, good job." And I creep by and I look, and I'm like, "There's nobody in there." Like, and I was like, "Well, I did slow down."
Yeah, well, I always thought that the best thing, go buy a mannequin and put him in a uniform and put him behind the wheel. That way, and
just sitting there
and put a camera in his hand, like
it'd be like that movie. Did you ever see that movie I Am Legend?
Which one?
Did you ever see that movie with Will Smith, I Am Legend?
Oh yes, yeah.
So when he sets up all the mannequins in the stores and he starts naming them and stuff.
Right.
I feel like that's going to be me one day, but I do that now. Nobody's here, and I'm like talking in, just the air. I'm like, hey, what's going on, guys?
Well, we have done shows on police. We've done it on our first responders, and all. Again, another one of our best shows was about the WWF.
Yeah,
because you were a big follower of wrestling and everything, and we started talking about our days working with wrestlers and all. That was a great show. For any of you, again, Brandon said it earlier, you can go into either one of our sites and just go back to the archives and look at some of the shows.
Watch the evolution of the show, and the change of us, the maturity level that we've experienced over the last year.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I'm just trying to sound good.
Yes, we're up to 14.
Yeah, I made it. I'm going through the change right now. But I had a couple of people I met through this other social media app over the last couple of weeks. I started talking about podcasting in this show. They actually went back and watched the wrestling show because they had connections to wrestling. It was actually really funny, and they were like all excited. And I was like, "You guys watched it?" And they started telling me about it. I've never seen these people in my life. One of them's in Houston. One of them's in Georgia. We just met on this app. It's not like a dating app or anything. I don't do that crap. But it was really cool to hear about, because I went back and watched the wrestling show because it'd been so long,
And I was going through the list, and again, the holidays, one of the best shows that we did, and I encourage people to go back and look at that, was we did a show on Christmas, and we talked about what does Santa Claus really go through to get all over the world and get toys down everybody's chimney and underneath the trees. And we
That
raised
was a
some
good one.
we raised some very interesting questions.
Yeah, that was a good one. We got a lot of compliments on that. I had a lot of people say they just enjoyed it,
Yeah.
So,
And there's a lot of people that they still write into us and they say, what are you guys really up to? I mean,
yeah, I have no idea.
but another thing, and I'm going to share it on the screen, because we along the way were able to pick up a very, very good friend and a sponsorship. Patriot Sandwich Company is our one of our key sponsors, and we thank David Jordan and his staff over there because they make great sandwiches. They are for a great cause. A little bit of your purchase of your sandwich goes to We Got Your Six, which is a nonprofit to help veterans. The location in Denton, they're on off of 288. You find them, go online and find them. Get down there, buy some sandwiches, mention our show. You get a free drink. What could be better than that?
I could use one right now.
Yeah, and I think I may have to make a road trip over there too. But to David Jordan and his staff, thank you very, very much. We appreciate it, and continue our support of you and your support of us. We love it. So,
Yeah, no, they've been great. They've been great supporters. I've known David for a long time now, and it's been really cool to see and watch him, go through the challenges that every restaurant has. But no, he's been great supporters, watching our show, helping us out.
Yeah.
Just mutual beneficial.
We talked about that on one of our shows too, because again, he started his business up and he was going great guns, and COVID hit, and all of a sudden all the restaurants got shut down, and he was doing curbside orders, and he rolled with it and made himself, adapted it because he was a veteran and he knew how to adapt.
That's what you do. That's what he does. I mean, you don't quit. You don't give up. You just keep fighting. And
that's what we do every week. We adapt.
Yeah, I look like I look like I should live here in this trash right now today, but I'm here every week, even if I don't want to be.
And we will continue to. And when you watch the shows, whatever platform you're watching on, take a minute to send a comment or give us a thumbs up.
Yes.
Send ideas in for what you'd like to see us cover on the shows. I mean, there ain't nothing we won't talk about.
No, I mean, no, there isn't.
Well, unless your name is Tiffany or Monica.
Well, you're the one who still hired that girl. I don't know why she's even here.
But she is an efficient secretary.
I'm sure.
We're gonna have to do a follow-up show on that. And also
we are. I've got new stories actually. Recently,
yeah, I just wanted to know if you've got any new names to put on your list, or are you still
so
with?
Far, no. I mean, as we approach 2022, is that what year we're in?
Yeah.
No.
Monica and Tiffany are still.
They're still the top tier. I have a name I want to say, but I'm not. Yes, that's the name. So they're on my hit list.
By the way, I remember we met for coffee in Frisco one day, and you were running a little bit late. So the waitress came over, and I said, "Hey, listen, I want you to help me out. When my friend gets here, I want you to walk up to the table and say, 'Hi, my name is Monica. I'll be your server.'" and Brandon walks in, sits down. She walks over and she says, "Hi, can I get you something to drink? My name's Monica. I'll be your server." And his head literally hit the table. Like, I've had a tough enough day, but now I got to get a waitress named Monica.
I sat there. I was like, wait, and I looked right at her. I go, really? And I felt so bad because I'm like, wait a minute. What if it really is? Like,
and she played it so perfectly.
Yeah, she was great. I don't even remember what her name is.
but that's the kind of stuff that we do. And we're going to continue to do it. And we thank you again, everybody, for watching us for 52 weeks. some of you actually have watched us for 52 weeks straight, whether it was
I know
live on
that.
Tuesday mornings when we release the show, or you catch up with us later. But some of you have said, you know, we really enjoy following your show, and we enjoy
Yeah,
having you.
it's great. And I'll be semi-serious for a second before we leave. There's a lot of people that do watch that show on a regular. They will either talk to us, send me text message, send you message, comments, whatever. We definitely love feedback. I can't stress that enough, whether it's good, bad, it doesn't matter. We want to hear from you. We really enjoy that. So please continue to message us, because we can't do this without you guys. Otherwise, it would just be Stuart and I talking to each other, and we can do that without a show, you know?
Yeah. And we have a PO box. So if you want to send checks, you can do that
You can
too.
do that. We have an email, I will post that, but I want to thank Stuart for coming up with the idea. Honestly, I got to be honest, it means a lot to me. I know I can be a hard dude sometimes, but it means a lot to me because I really enjoy it. I've enjoyed getting to forget a co-host, just having a friend, and it means a lot to me. So thank you for that.
Hey, my pleasure. And on that, we'll just tell everybody to make sure that you tune in again next Tuesday, 8 a.m. right here for another edition of Trash Talk. And in the meantime, go out, make it a good one.
Thank you.